Kia ora, and welcome to the Beer Jerk Beer of the Week Drink Along. I'm Luke, and this week we're drinking RPA from Workshop, which, if you hadn't guessed it, stands for Raglan Pale Ale. Workshop are a brewery in Raglan, and they kicked off in 2019, but they've really focused on their local market, so it's likely that you may not have seen a beer from them before if you're in another part of New Zealand, and if you don't really get to Raglan much. Cheers. Oh, so I'm really happy to finally have one of their beers in our box. As I say, they are focused on their sort of local beer scene, and they don't package a lot of their beers. They've got their core range, which this is one of, and I think it's maybe 3 different beers in cans. And then they do their some really interesting seasonals that are really small batches of different Belgian styles and adjunct styles. They did a really good chocolate stout. They've been doing some stuff with barrels, but they come in these beautiful 500ml bottles, and they're really small runs. But they kicked off in 2019, just right at the end of the year. And the first time I tried one of their beers, I was just blown away, just really, really impressed with how good the pale ale was. It was actually, this beer was the first one I tried. Look how beautifully it presents in the glass, gorgeous. And often when a new brewery comes on the scene, it's and especially with packaged beers, which are really difficult to do versus keg beers, there often might be some problems or some brewing faults, but every single beer I've had from Workshop has been absolutely fantastic. And they are, as the name hints at, they're in a workshop just down at Raglan Engineering. So they're, well, I was going to say by the ocean, but I guess everywhere in Raglan is by the ocean and by the docks there. And the guys there just really embody just the Raglan lifestyle, I suppose. Everyone in Raglan is pretty chilled out. Most people are pretty into surfing. It's not a super stressful place. If you have not visited Raglan, go and pay them a visit. Especially once the weather gets a bit warmer. I think this is about the coldest day we've had in the year in Auckland. After 14 years in New Zealand, I've definitely acclimatised. I'm bloody cold today. So Raglan's wonderful in the summertime, but all year round. And you can pop in and see the brewery. They don't have a brew pub, but you can go and get flagons filled and go and buy beers from them. And just a really lovely bunch of people. It's Matt, who I mainly know. He comes up and does some deliveries in Auckland. And it's also Bruno and Jake are there. And yeah, just a really talented, passionate group of guys that are, yeah, a story as old as time, I suppose. Just some guys getting together, realising they really love beers. They were underserved in their local area. So Workshop are the first brewery in Raglan, which is really wonderful. And yeah, as I say, the location is really cool as well. It's quite an historic workshop where it was related to sort of engineering and timber. There wasn't, Raglan wasn't really connected to the railway network in the early days. So that's a great location, being right on the waterfront, that they could ship timber around the country. And yeah, they're sort of continuing the proud tradition. And that's really cool to see in their design. Their logos are really awesome. Wobbly spanner, which is a spanner to be used in tight and tricky circumstances. And yeah, just the way that they embrace yeah, engineering and problem solving. I think that's really the approach for the guys, sort of learning about welding and piecing the whole thing together. So some of their seasonal beers to check out are their core range. They do a whole bunch of spin-offs where they just mix up the hop varieties and just do different takes on the core recipe, which is really cool. But this is the core, and it's a beer that's it's been perfected, really. It's just, yeah, just a really, really beautiful, easygoing beer. But there's lots going on in there. It's got really nice, like slightly tropical but good citrus flavours. It's one of those great beers, like a, well, yeah, that's why I love pale ale so much, or like a Kolsch that I always rant about. You can just drink this beer every day. If the craft beer whole novelty bubble, the Pokemonization of beer didn't exist, and this was all you had to drink, then you'd be pretty happy, because it's a beer you can just knock back, not think too much about it perhaps, but also beer, if you do stop and consider it, it's wonderfully balanced. It's so nicely put together. The little bit of malt in the sort of a biscuity malt character in the malt profile. You've got your slightly citrusy, aroma, bit of bitterness on the back end, just really keeps you coming back for more. And this isn't too dissimilar to the historic bitters and pale ales that have been brewed. Well, people say that pale ales really kicked off in about 1705 with the invention of coke, the kind of sort of processed coal that you could use in heating that didn't kick off smoke. So that's when you can get pale malts versus the malts prior to that had been darker malts. But various beer historians, people like Ron Pattinson and Martin Cornell, believe that pale ales may go back way further than that. In the NZ Beer Jerks group on Facebook, I'll put a link in there tomorrow with some interesting history about the history of bitter and of pale ale. And more of a hop forward beer style, but that also in the mists of time, these nice neatly boxed stories that we like to sort of listen to and repeat, they're not as neat and tidy when you actually do delve back into the history, because pale ales in Yorkshire would have been quite different to pale ales in Scotland and other parts of the country. So in Scotland, historically, they had less access to hops because hops grew down in the south in Kent. So that would have been a very different tasting beer. That would have been more malty. Or the pale ales they were making in Ireland a couple of hundred years ago would have had certainly a drier finish and perhaps more redness to them. So yeah, if you're ever in a pub chatting to somebody who sounds like they know the history of IPAs and boats to India, it's bullshit really. Nothing is as clear and cut and dried as you might expect. But broadly, the history of pale coloured beers that were hoppier are pale ales. And they sort of became India pale ales, the sort of beefed up version. But that's really the history of modern craft beer in the States, which when people were allowed to start homebrewing again in the 1980s. And this revolution of craft beer really kicked off thanks to a handful of Americans visiting England and drinking bitters and pale ales, but also porters, barley wines, and then taking back to America and hopping the shit out of them, really. I was watching a video this morning of Beer Hunter, which again, I shared that in the NZ Beer Jerks Facebook group, of the wonderful beer writer Michael Jackson going to California in 1989 and going to visit Anchor, which has been in the news recently because it's such an important American brewery and it's folding at the moment. But he chats with Fritz Maytag about their beers over there. But it is sort of a roundabout circuitous route that we get to drink beers like this these days, thanks to those American brewers going to England and trying some of the pale ales. But this is very much in the American vein of things. It's light, it's hop forward, it's characterful. And a key thing through all of history is quality of water. And that's just a little tip for any of you homebrewers watching, to really pay attention to your water. And you can replicate the character of Cologne water or Burton-on-Trent water just with your mineral profile, the salts and the chalks that you add to your water. But if you're very lucky, you'll have access to spring water. And the workshop lads absolutely do. I can't remember the name of it. I'll put it in the email. But there's a wonderful spring near the brewery, and they use that pure, beautiful water that gives all of their beers a certain character to them. And perhaps that is one of their secrets. I'm yet to have a workshop beer that I haven't liked. But yeah, that is enough on RPA. Really fantastic beer. Really awesome to see them really embracing their region of Raglan. Definitely a place that is worth a visit, and it's nice that we have got a bit of their beer that we can send around the country and share with you wonderful jerks drinking along. So brilliant work to the workshop guys on putting this together. Other news, we've got Auckland Beer Week is kicking off this Saturday. So here at the Fridge and Flagon, we've got Jabs, the Jerks Auckland Beer Showcase. And we've got a brilliant tap list that Joe's lined up of, as usual, small independent brewers from all over the place, plus a cheeky keg we've imported from Australia to go in there. So we're going to be launching a whole load of new beers that no one has ever had before at that. We're also going to have our friend Dan from Passa Passa is bringing his food truck along. That's going to be some brilliant Italian street food. DJ Peril Spritz is going to be playing a whole bunch of soul and blues vinyls. It's actually going to be a really fun afternoon on Saturday. And throughout the week, other highlights, we've got Pavel, the head brewer at Mount, is coming up on Wednesday. And he's going to do a bit of a beer and desserts pairing. In Mount Maunganui, there's a really famous bakery called, I say it's famous, I've never been there, they told me it's famous, Sponge Drop, which I hear is really fantastic, because that's Joe has also told me they do fantastic stuff. So they're bringing up some desserts from Sponge Drop to pair with these beers. So tickets are only $45, and you can find them on the Beer Jerk website. So that is Wednesday night next week. They're selling out fast, so you need a ticket for that one on the Wednesday. That's going to be a really cool event, and just hearing about all the stories from Pavel behind all the dark beers that pair with the desserts. Then on the Friday, we've got a pineapple party with the new guys from Mangafai at Pacific Coast Beers. So Matt and the gang will be down for that. Going to be a whole bunch of pineapple beer cocktail things, and going to be a bit of a party late night on Friday. And then that Saturday after that, we've got Sports Day. Well, it's the Beer Mile Olympics. So all 7 of the Auckland Beer Mile venues are doing different events. We've got Mario Kart here, they're doing Connect 4, Garage Project, darts, obviously at Galbraith's. They're doing Giant Jenga at Behemoth. I think they're building a one-hole golf course at Urban Horse. Anyway, Beer Mile Olympics is a week on Saturday. But most importantly, this Saturday is Jabs. It's going to be great. Come along. And if you're not in Auckland, sorry, but we've just launched a Weihenstephaner mixed case on the BJK website. So I just sent the email about that earlier today. That's been flying out already. So grab that really fantastic 6-pack of just, yeah, incredible half-litre bottles of dark wheat beers, interesting pilsners from the oldest brewery in the world, Weihenstephaner, that's been brewing since 1040, which is boggling to even think about. Anyway, I'm freezing. I'm going to go and enjoy this and turn the heaters on. Thank you for joining us, as always, and being part of the Beer community. I really do appreciate it. It's really cool to be sharing these great beers with you every single week. I'll see you next time. Cheers.